All right, I believe we are streaming live. Hello, everyone on LinkedIn and wherever else you are watching this. Welcome to Talk About TV. And every Wednesday, we come to you to share one thing that you don't know about experiential outdoor hospitality. And I'm your host, Michelle Oliver, and I am delighted to be here today with Cathy Evans. And she comes to us from Montana. And today, our topic is what you don't know about RV resort opportunities in Montana. Cathy, welcome. Thank you for being here
Thank
today.
you. And it's great to see you
Yeah.
again, Michelle, and love sharing everything about this beautiful country. And just so people know, I actually live in Big Fork, Montana, and I can see all the way down Flathead Lake and the Swan Mountains. So my location is about 40 minutes to Glacier National Park and
Oh
two
my
ski
gosh.
resorts. So I'm just a few miles
Yeah.
from heaven right now. Yeah.
Yeah. Magical
Yeah.
Montana. I
It
mean,
is
talk
beautiful.
about
Yeah.
stunning. I'm in Colorado, as you know, and it's very pretty here, but it's a different, I mean, big sky, Montana. There's a
It is a big
reason
sky.
you have
Yeah.
that name. Yeah. So share with us, if you would, for anybody that doesn't know you. I know that you are known as kind of the queen of RV resorts in Montana.
Don't dethrone me though. Take my crown away. Yeah. I love what I do. I sold my first park in 2017, and now I'm working on my 19th RV park transaction. It's a
Wow.
stunning park in the Bitterroot in Hamilton on the Bitterroot River. I've got a showing tomorrow. And it's in Montana is so most of you probably already know we have two national parks in Montana. So it's huge tourism here. I mean, Glacier National Park, we had over 3 million visitors last year, and it's up 9%. And Yellowstone, you've got
Wow.
4.5 million visitors. And in 2023, 3 million visitors had spent like 372 million in communities near the park. So tourism
Oh
here is
my
huge as far
goodness.
as, yeah. And then another thing that an added value is the value of RV parks have actually doubled, in the last few years. I've sold a park, and a month and a half, or excuse me, a year and a half later, an investor has put money into renovation, expansion. They have better management and online reservation systems, and they've turned their parks over for quite a profit. So,
I'm salivating already.
well, and
I
also
mean,
some people may or may not think about this, but RV here in Montana, it's not just a seasonal owning a park. A lot of
hmm,
people are living in their RVs, skirting them in because there's a lack of housing and or the cost of living. So there's parks here in the Flathead where a lot of investors in mobile home parks are looking at RV parks because they're still transient type of parks, like owning a lodge or so where you don't have to deal with long-term tenants. But some of the sites here in the valley are up to 875 a month you can get in the winter, and then they're on their
wow.
own meters and propane. And then in the winter time, they may have to move to go offsite someplace else because that's when your tourist season starts in the spring. But even in the
Mhm.
summertime, you can get upwards of 1,800 a month for an RV site. And people are bringing their coaches up here in the summertime to get out of the heat of Texas or Florida or Arizona. So you can't lose.
That's incredible. Yes, it sounds like you can't lose. And I think it's a matter of, well, the thing about you is you help people through the educational process that's involved, right?
Yeah.
A lot of people just need a little nudge to start thinking outside of the box where they might just think Montana is only summer. That's obviously
Mhm.
not the case. And you can help them with generating revenue, the ideas and the strategies. That's the thing, honestly, anyone that doesn't know you, that when I first met you stood out to me so much, Cathy,
Thank
is that
you. Thank
everything
you.
that you approach is the way you approach your clientele is service minded and educational, and you get very deeply involved, intimately
Mhm.
involved in from the business perspective. Oftentimes you even work both sides of the transaction, and you've been able to do that very successfully by taking care, like
Mhm.
truly, legitimately, genuinely, not just, hey, I take care of my clients, but really getting in there and serving both parties.
Yeah, you have to really be transparent. I mean, I just had a conference call yesterday with a buyer and a seller and myself on an RV park, and they're wanting to do an expansion, and the buyer is doing all the research and everything, and the seller's listening to all the things that need to be done. So to me, I've worked a lot of parks as a dual agent, protecting the buyers and the sellers, because there's, as you know, there's a lot of moving parts. So I
Yeah.
love being transparent with it and being open and whether you're going to look to buy a RV park in Montana or any other state, let me know. I would be happy to tell you some of my expertise. And I actually kind of work as a consultant. I don't even charge people, just call me.
Yeah.
Frank Wolf and I
Wow.
did an interview. He owns, Montana, owns RV Park University and Mobile Home Park University. And I did a podcast with him about Montana, what's going on here in RV parks. And I actually had some people call me from Florida, from other parks, and just asking me some questions. And I would be more than happy to share my expertise and what I know.
That
Would
is
be happy
so
to.
generous of you. I think
Thank
in
you.
consulting with, like what we do as well, like generally in outdoor
Mhm,
hospitality with RV resorts or whatever, however it presents itself, glamping or campgrounds or whatever. Um, the biggest challenge is really that people don't know what they don't know. So the
mhm,
only way to not know or the only way to figure out what you don't know is to talk with someone that has a vision from further down the road, right?
mhm.
And that would
Yes.
be Cathy. So she's been through
Thank you.
so much,
Yeah.
and that's amazing that you're offering that. So call her up, she'll guide you, and who
Yeah, I'm
knows, you
actually
might have a
working
great.
with I'm working with another broker right now. She's amazing here in the Flathead Valley, and she does really high-end custom homes, residential. And she called me up and said, Kathy, I have these clients. They're coming up from Salt Lake City and they want to look at some parks. And she is honest and says, I don't know anything about the RV. Will you be willing to work with me? And even though I have my company and she's with another company, I was flattered that she would at least come out and tell me that I have no idea what I'm doing. And so
Yes,
we just talked last night about cap rates and all this stuff. And a lot of it's going over her head. But I'm more than happy to help another broker in Montana that's residential, just help them get through the transaction, whether it's with a buyer or a seller, because it's
that's
really important to
fantastic.
know what you're doing in a transaction like this, because there's a lot of moving parts in a park, as we know. So
Yeah, so many things you can't control. You've got to be mitigating issues, and there are a million things. What is your perspective on, like, we're coming to the end, if you can believe it, of 2024, which is craziness. But
yeah.
in as we move into the 2025 and kind of looking back over the last 2 or 3 years, do you have a projection, an idea of a vision? Do you have a crystal ball? What's happening next year
No,
with these parks?
I have no idea what's happening. Nobody has a crystal ball, right?
Yeah,
I just know that the end of the season doesn't mean it's the end of the season for an RV park owner here. Now is the time that you start getting ready for your 2025. Now is the time that you start working on getting your work campers for next season. Now is the time to
yeah,
do
for
it.
sure.
Now is the time where RV park owners are calling me because it's the end of the season. And some people think like, they don't want to sell their RV park in the middle of the winter, which actually I have sold several parks during the winter, showed them in the winter with snow on the ground. I've actually got a call on Monday from an RV park on the other side of the Continental Divide. And I'm going to try to get over there before the snow flies and get some pictures, but she wants to sell her park. It's October. And buyers still, you may want to wait a couple months or so, or just start diving into it now, and especially if it's a park that has revenue during the winter. So the park that I'm showing tomorrow in Hamilton on the Bitterroot River, it's 17 acres, and he probably has an upwards of 10 RVs there at like 800-900 a month. So don't think of the winter here as a
Wow.
park shutting down. Yeah, and those sites are
Yeah.
on their own meters. So don't some parks, yes, and in the national park areas like Glacier National Park or Yellowstone, they do shut down because of the massive amount of snow. But here in the valley, you can look at a park 365 days a year. And yeah,
And
so
this,
my
I
job
mean,
doesn't end in the in the fall.
yeah,
Yeah, but as
yeah.
far as next year, what's going to happen, I don't know. It's actually been kind of quiet Not a lot of parks on the market right now. I think everybody, as we all are kind of waiting to see what happens. There is more seller financing on RV parks here in Montana than before, which obviously because of the interest
Uh,
rates and whatnot. And
great.
if you do need a lender, I know quite a few great lenders, as you also do know.
Yeah, it seems like after a while, people quit balking at seller financing and they realize that it's a tremendous opportunity for them and from the buyer's perspective and the sellers, right? Like,
Mhm.
and if you really want to be doing this, you don't stop. I mean, anybody knows this in business. Those people that just
Mhm.
keep going and that are looking at things when everybody else thinks, oh, we're just going to wait, that is when the opportunity really is there, and they are everywhere if you really are looking and building relationships and all of that. But you are kind of the connector in Montana. You seem to know
Yes.
everyone there, so anybody that's listening to this, if Montana, and why would Montana not appeal to anyone? I mean, it's, they call it God's country, right? For a reason. It's just
Yeah,
gorgeous.
we're the fourth largest state with a little over a million something people. If you think about it, that's not a whole lot in the fourth largest state. And
Wow,
we're
no.
7.59 people per square mile. So there's a lot of open
Oh my
space here.
gosh.
And when you're looking at Montana, like we are a big state, and there's certain
Yeah.
areas that you kind of want to avoid, such as a High Line and on the east side, because it's just really flat. It's mostly farming land. It's not going to
Okay.
be a destination for people traveling in RVs. I mean, they may stop and have her. I actually went and did a consultation with an owner in Havre, beautiful park.
Mhm.
Those kind of parks that are in other areas, usually you get workers coming through who need are traveling nurses. You have a lot of traveling nurses now, or
Okay.
people working for the railroad, or people working building out highways. So they will bring their motor coaches in or RVs and stay on site for a couple months while they're working. Those, but they
Interesting.
won't be staying in your gorgeous Glacier National Parks.
Right.
And just so everybody knows, I actually bought a motor coach last year. And as you
Yeah. Talk
notice, you
about
see a
that.
lot of motor coaches with Montana plates on them, these big $2 million coaches with plates rolling down, Montana plates. And I don't know if most people may know or not, but we have no sales tax in Montana. So people are buying these gorgeous motor coaches under an LLC. My motor coach I picked up in Kansas. I have a Winnebago Navion 24G with 2 slides, perfect for me. And it had Montana plates on it. It was in Kansas. So they obviously didn't pay the sales tax. But so I actually
Huge
enjoy,
benefits.
not
Yeah.
only do I really get into my work, I get into my campgrounds and I go meet with people in my motor coach, and I have everything set up so I can work from my motor coach and be mobile. So I'm really into what I do.
Yes, you are. I remember when you started sharing more about that, or maybe I just started watching more about what you were
Mhm.
doing. So, do you want to share a little bit about that adventure here? Just from the
Adventure.
Cathy being on the road adventure? What is that like?
Yeah. I mean, I like last summer I did over 7,000 miles. And this summer I haven't
Wow.
totaled up. I probably did 4 or 5,000 miles. And then I went to a few RV parks. Some of them I sold and I camped at their site. Some of the parks I went in my motor coach and I just sat with the owners and did consultation, and I love it because it's my office and then it's also a write-off. So, but
And it's a
unfortunately I don't.
mobile realtor. It's a mobile broker.
It is, yeah. So I can
That's
go
awesome.
anywhere
We
in it.
come to you. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. And but right now I brought it down to my mom's house in Arizona, recently took care of her, and then I took it to Southern California to my family's home where it's going to stay all winter long. And I was in it the last night. And I'm like, oh, I won't see you till the spring,
Uh,
So it's kind of a bittersweet. Um, Excuse me, I'm getting over a cold after being
yeah.
traveling, but yeah. And then I'm gone. And I know you see me on social media. And where is she now? What lake is she at?
Yeah. It's so
And
fun.
and and the thing about Montana is there's so many beautiful state government parks where you can go for $20 a night. Some of them you can go online and make the reservation. Some are first come, first serve. And my absolute favorite is site number 34 at Holland Lake here in the
I can't
Swan. It's
believe
only
you're
like an
giving
hour.
this. You're
I
telling
know.
everyone.
Fishermen will never tell you their favorite fishing spot, but I will share with you my favorite camping spot. And you better not be there when I show up and say, "Oh, you told me about this."
Yeah.
But it is
Kathy's
probably
site.
it, yeah, and I don't mind sharing. I'm not a fisherman like that, but it is. There's so many beautiful campsites, one after another, all the way down the Swan from even where I live. It's only like an hour or so away. And I did go out this summer, and it was, I can't remember, it was a August or something, and it was a busy weekend, and I had to go to about 3 or 4 different campsites to find a place that wasn't booked. And I have an All Stays app, which is a wonderful app, All Stays. And sure enough, I boondocked on the end of the Swan River, Clearwater, for 2 nights. Beautiful place.
Mm.
And I've got the kayak, I've got my dog and my little e-bike, as you saw, and she's got her own little seat in the back of my e-bike. And so sometimes you can travel through Montana and not exactly have a site, a destination where you have to be. If you want to be in Glacier National Park or Yellowstone, yeah, you definitely need to make those reservations.
Yeah.
But there's even some areas you can pull off that are on the Highway 90 here, rest stops. They're beautiful, and it's safe here, So there's a lot of beautiful places throughout Montana that are really still affordable for if you want to do this all summer long.
I love how much you obviously love what you do.
And you got to come
It
on a trip
just,
with me sometime,
it,
Michelle. Come on out. I'll
yeah.
show
Well,
you. Yeah.
I'm more like I'll come up in the summer and
Yeah.
stay at the luxury RV resort.
Well, I actually have a pretty nice RV, as you saw. It's very
You
nice.
do. Oh my
But
gosh.
yeah.
Yes. Yes. No, but the
Yeah.
fact that you've just incorporated this, I mean, there are, you can just tell when people absolutely love what they do. And so many
Yeah.
women, I talk to a lot of women because I do, coaching on the side and stuff and different things just to support them. But so many people do struggle with what do I really want to do and can I do what I love to do? And
Hmm.
you are such a beautiful example of that. And just incorporating, like, with your interaction with your family and how you see them and traveling and serving your clients, and all of it, it just culminates in this kind of holistic, purpose driven passion. And
Yeah.
it's really obvious. And I think it's a great inspiration for other people to see what you're doing and how you go about it. And basically, what I've learned about you is you just think of what you want and then you go do it. You just
You
go
have
figure
to.
out how to do it from the, like
I
when
don't
I
have to
heard
ask
your,
anybody permission. I don't have to ask permission from
right,
anybody, right?
right.
Yeah.
Well,
And
your
as
origin story,
yeah.
which I'm going to encourage people to go back and watch another video that I did with you that I'll link in this one, because learning about how you started, I think, is also just really inspiring for people. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah. And
You're
as I
the
shared with you before, Michelle, is I've traveled a lot in Europe, and I go by
yes,
myself for 3 weeks. I drive all over Italy. I've driven in Costa Rica and Panama, and I've gone places overseas by myself. And I love to inspire women to just go. And even if you're
yeah,
married, bring your daughter, your sister, whoever, just go and explore. I mean, they're priceless moments. And I started thinking, God, there's so many beautiful places in the States. And so my son said, Mom, why don't you get a motor coach instead of, going to
yeah,
Europe and driving all over? So that's what I'm doing. And now I see people following me, as I take these trips, and my motor coach, and sometimes it's hard because you're by yourself and you have to hook things up and unhook things, and that's why I have no fingernails in the summertime because it'd be nice if a man was there to help me with my sewer hoses or whatnot. But I was camping on the in Craig,
that is a
Montana.
line I will never
Yeah.
forget. I'm sorry to interrupt, but that's
I was
hilarious.
camping in Craig, Montana, Missouri River there, and this couple in this beautiful rig. He was retired Air Force, and she was retired, I think, teacher, and they watched me roll into the site and set everything up, and I make my beautiful dinners, and it just everything is just to a T of I love what I do. And the next morning they came over and they said, you know what, we were watching, we have to admire you doing this all on your own. And they said, and their full-time RVers, is that they see more women in doing this on their own. So I'm driving down the road and my, sprinter, my motor coach is class C, and I'll drive by and I'll see a lady and I always wave,
Oh, that's
or
awesome.
and I think it's a good inspiration because I just turned
Yes,
60
it
and I'm going
is.
to do this while I can and
Yeah,
just
it is
inspire
one.
other women to hit the road and let the fear go. So
Sorry, I went. Yeah, let the
it's
fear
okay.
go, hit the road, and let's just encourage everyone now to go do whatever that thing is. Hit the road. Maybe it is doing what you're doing, and maybe it means something else to you,
Mhm.
but this is the time to do it. Like, and this is also the time to go explore Montana RV
Yeah.
resorts and see what the
Well, not
opportunities
now.
are.
We're kind of getting into the winter, but in the spring.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, my point is like, is there a better time? Like they can connect with you and you can get to know them and like, what are they looking for? Excuse me. And it's never too early to have the conversation. So
Yeah.
I encourage anyone who has even dreamed or thought about Montana to reach out to Kathy now. Just have the conversation, learn about what she knows, and then she can keep an eye out for you. There's a
Yeah. And I do
shameless
have,
plug for you.
thank you, Michelle. Thank you so much again. And I do have a pool of investors. Like when I had this other park that I'm going to show them are listed, by the way. It's a stunning park, 17
Wow.
acres. You have your own launching ramp on the Bitterroot River. Montana is known for some of the best fly fishing in the world. Um, but anyway, so I have a pool of investors, and whenever I do have a park that's coming on or available, I will shoot off an email to a list of investors that I have. So if you want me to add you to that, just please don't hesitate. Or like I said before, if you're buying in another state, let me know. Anywhere. If you have any
Fantastic.
questions, let me know. Here to
Kathy,
help.
thank you so much for your
Thank
time
you.
today. It's so good to connect with you again. And I know you're going to have an incredible remainder of the fall as it quickly turns to winter in Montana. But appreciate this. And again, anybody who has questions, reach out to Kathy. You can reach out to me and I'll get you connected with her. Whatever you want to do, we're here to be of service to you. Have a wonderful week, everyone. Thank you.